into the action for another day of the week. Welcome to the Wednesday edition of Chasing That Paper, presented by VegasInsider.com, baby. So coming off a 3-2 day yesterday. Not great, but good. Profitable. So we've been stringing together some profitable shows here going back to last week. It feels pretty good. So we're going to try to bring that winning energy right back in to today. Big NBA show, big college hoop show. A little bit of news in the NFL to discuss, just a little bit here over the past 24 hours. All right, so let's quit wasting time. Let's bring in my co-host for the day, down in Florida, Kevin Rogers. Now, Kevin, I know you're struggling to keep it together. We'll touch on this more in the second half of the show, but Tom Brady, certainly a sentimental moment here for you today. Do you think you can hold it together for us?
I will try. I mean, I thought that Tom Brady could go to any kind of team in the NFL. The 49ers, the Raiders. He could have got on Stephen Ross's boat with the Dolphins. But you know what? Here's what I'll say about this, and we'll talk about it later, Joe. But you can't do this again. You retire now, you got to be done. You can't unretire. Did it once, we'll give you a pass. For the second time, you got to be done now.
All right, we shall see. Okay, we'll discuss a little bit of NFL in the second half of the show. But, Kevin, let's get right into the action. 7 total picks across the NBA and college hoops. Let's start in the NBA in beautiful Memphis, where the Portland Trail Blazers are in town. I'm going to take the home team Grizzlies to cover the 5-point spread. So, Memphis, a completely different animal on their home court. You might take a look at their recent game logs and think, geez, they're not playing very well. Sure, lots of road games in there, though. Check them out at home. They're 15-1 in their last 16 games at home, 9 double-digit wins in the span. Now, you might dig into the Blazers' numbers recently and think, hey, they're playing half decent here. Well, 10 of their last 11 games were at home. On the road, they've lost 8 straight, and there's a significant drop-off in many key stats this season when they hit the road. Big defensive edge for the Grizzlies in this one at home this season. Memphis, number 1 in opponent EFG shooting percentage, number 1 in points allowed per 100 possessions. You dig into the Portland numbers, struggling defensively despite all those games at home, 27th in opponent EFG over their last 10, 29th in points allowed per 100 possessions in that span as well. Give me the Grizzlies, -5. All right, let's hop over to college hoops. Kevin, what's your first pick?
We're going to start in the ACC here, Joe. North Carolina and Pittsburgh meeting up. 2 of the top 4 teams in the conference. In fact, high expectations for Carolina this year. Not so much for Pitt, but Pitt has overexceeded those expectations. 7-4 in the conference, but I'm going to lay the points with North Carolina here at home. Now, this is the big R tonight, the big revenge game, Joe. They lost to Pitt back in December, 76-74, a game that Carolina was in control of most of the way. Pitt rallied late to win. Now, UNC has played better of late. They've won 6 of their past 7 games to get back in the top 4 of the ACC. And also with North Carolina, they've erased that little 4-game losing streak they had back in December, had some struggles there. So they're back to form. Look, you can't overlook the fact that Pittsburgh is 7-0 against the spread on the road this season. But at the same time, this is a high number. Carolina's got Duke Saturday. I don't think there's a look-ahead spot for them here. That North Carolina playing very well. They want to get revenge on Pitt. And look, Pitt continues to be very competitive, but I think Carolina gets over on them tonight. Let's lay the points of Carolina at home against Pitt.
All right, right back into the NBA. And guys, how about a little bit of goddamn respect for the Orlando Magic? I'm taking them to cover the spread +9 in Philadelphia. Tonight, this is a team that plays up to the competition, goddammit. Go ask the Boston Celtics. Go ask the 76ers, who they just beat by 10 on Monday night. This is too many points to give the Magic. They are 14-3 in their last 17 games as a dog of 5 or more points. This is too many points, 9 points. Also, this is a team that rides the momentum. They are 13-5-1 ATS after a win. That is a cover percentage of 72.2%, which is the best in the NBA in this spot. And these teams, you dig into the numbers over the last 10 games, very close in a number Key stats. Magic have the edge in free throw attempt rate, opponent EFG percentage, opponent free throw attempt rate. They're forcing more turnovers, playing better three-point defense, and allowing fewer points per 100 possessions. Give me the Magic to cover that +9 number tonight in beautiful Philadelphia. All right, Kevin, next up, back to college hoops. What are you looking at?
Joe, we're going to stay in the city of Philadelphia for St. Joe's as they take on Rhode Island, some Atlantic 10 action. And we're going to lay the points with St. Joseph's here in this game. And St. Joe's has played well of late. They have covered all 5 of their past 5 games. They're 4-1 straight up, coming off an underdog win at George Mason on Sunday. And St. Joe's, after a slow start in A-10 play, coming back the middle of the pack there in the Atlantic 10, a bit of a log jam. A lot of teams at 4-5, not a great conference, but still very competitive. Rhode Island, meanwhile, they have won their last 2 games, both coming at home. They upset Dayton in one of those games. And Rhode Island, they just have not been good away from Kingston this season. 1 win, and we can't even call it a road win. It was a neutral site win back in non-conference play. They have no true road wins on the season. And also, all 4 of Rhode Island's conference wins have come by 5 points or less. So a game here, a game there, it could go a different way. Maybe they're closer to the bottom of this conference. I think St. Joe's playing well right now. Let's ride the momentum with them. Let's lay the points with the Hawks of St. Joe's against the Rams of Rhode Island in Atlantic 10 play, Joe.
All right, let's roll back to the NBA. The Thunder will be rolling tonight in Houston against the Rockets. Give me OKC to cover as a -5.5 point favorite. So check this team out after a loss. I absolutely love this spot. OKC has been money after a loss, 16-9 ATS. They are coming off a loss to the Golden State Warriors. No shame in that. That's the second best bet in the NBA in this spot. The Rockets, my God, this team is just awful. We know what you're doing, Houston. You're tanking. No Jalen Green. Kevin Porter still out. They're 2-11 ATS in their last 13 games. Just an incredible fade. Among the worst in the NBA in many key stats, specifically on the defensive side of the court. Significant defensive gap between these teams. Opponent EFG over the last 10 games, 5 versus 22, 5 versus 24, and points allowed per 100 possessions in that span as well. Give me the Thunder and bounce back. Houston, Kevin, your final pick of the show today. What are we looking at?
We're going to go to the Missouri Valley Conference, Joe. And last week we faded Valparaiso in their loss to Northern Iowa. This time we're going to take Valparaiso. And they're facing Missouri State this evening, getting 9.5 on the road. Now, Valparaiso, one thing I kind of ripped them on last week was that they beat up a lot of bad teams in the Missouri Valley, which is true, and they still have. They came off another win over Evansville, who's by far the worst team in the conference. And yet, Valpo's playing with some confidence, though. Got to give them that. 4-1 straight up and against the spread in the last 5 games. So playing a little better here during the stretch run of MVC play. For Missouri State, they failed to cover their last 3 games. They're just 1-2 in this span. They got a big game coming up on Saturday against conference co-leader Southern Illinois, who they just lost to recently. So you wonder if this is a bit of a look-ahead spot for Missouri State. Also, the last 3 wins for the Bears have come by 4 points or less. So let's grab the points with not the Crusaders anymore, but the Beacons of Valparaiso. They changed their name before this season. So let's go with Valparaiso to cover against Missouri State, Joe.
All right, let's wrap things up in the NBA. We got to go with a bit of a plus money player prop here. A little bit of a swing tonight. A beautiful bet on a beautiful man. I like Lauri Markkanen over 3.5 threes at +135 tonight with the Toronto Raptors in town. So check this guy out. Absolutely red hot from the land beyond the arc. He's hit at least 4 threes in 4 of his last 5 games, where he's shooting the 3 at 57.5%. He's at home tonight, where he's been lights out from the lane beyond all season, hitting at 47.5%. He has 4 or more threes in 11 different home games already this season. And to bring it all together, the Raptors are getting absolutely killed from three-point land, 27th in opponent three-point percentage over the last 10 games, 25th in threes allowed per game in this span as well. Absolutely brutal for the Raptors. Give me Markkanen over 3.5 threes +135. Indeed, there you have it. 7 picks in 7 minutes. That might be a record, Kevin. Guys, if you're on YouTube right now, do me a favor. Smash that like button. Don't break your computer or phone. Tap it, actually. Do the same thing for the subscribe button down there as well. Lots of great content here in the Vegas Insider YouTube channel, so you're going to want to check that out. Okay, if you're looking to tail any of our action, maybe fade any of our action, the choice quite simply is yours. I recommend placing your action over at BetMGM. It's never been easier to bet with confidence. That's because the king of sportsbooks is giving you a can't-miss first bet offer up to $1,000 back in bonus bets. Sign up with BetMGM using the bonus code VIBONUS and get a first bet offer up to $1,000 paid back in bonus bets if you don't win. That's VIBONUS, all one word, no spaces, for a first bet offer of $1,000 paid back in bonus bets if you don't win. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. You must be 21 or older to wager. Offer is for new customers only. BetMGM, the king of sportsbooks. Indeed, VI bonus. A lot of people are going to be signing up with the new sports book here. A little bit of a big game coming up, the Super Bowl. So why not take advantage of that great bonus offer over at BetMGM? Okay, so we were going to lead with Sean Payton here this morning, Kevin. But some other news came out. A gentleman was on a beach this morning by Instagram. He announced his retirement. A little bit less fanfare than last year's retirement announcement, but you kind of touched on this off the top. This is Brady's second retirement now. You know, you got to think it's for real this time. Last time it didn't really feel, it was a little sketchy. This time he's on the beach. You can hear his voice cracking. The guy's what? He's going on 46 years old. I think that has a lot to do with it too. The way the team went out, you know, it wasn't very good, but hey, Michael Jordan retired on 3 separate occasions. Don't forget he came back. Brett Favre, he retired a couple different times. So what do you think? Is Brady officially done here? Do you think a couple of weeks he starts to get bored again and maybe signs with a new team?
I think he's done, Joe. And I guess the first retirement, one thing I'll say is, was that for 40 days? So you say a 40-day vacation in a sense instead of a real retirement. But he went to Tampa Bay. I don't know if it's a proof that he still has it, or he could win a title. He did. He still had it, and he still won a title his first year, which is, he could have retired after 2020, and that would have been legendary status, but he still had more in the tank and led the NFL in passing in 2021. Obviously, this year, things went backwards. Bruce Arians left before in February or so, and that was kind of an interesting situation. But Brady still made the playoffs. Granted, it was a bad division. I got to believe that, A, he was done in Tampa, and B, if he were to go maybe to San Francisco, I don't know if that's a situation you want to go into, if you want to take the job away from Brock Purdy necessarily moving into next year. I don't think he'd go to the Raiders. I don't think he'd go to the Patriots. So if the San Francisco thing, which is maybe the biggest favorite in the clubhouse for him next year, wasn't going to work out, then I think that he was probably going to go retire.
Yeah, I think maybe if the door was open to join the Miami Dolphins, I think that might have been a possibility. He obviously didn't want to go back to Tampa Bay. And the thing that a lot of people are forgetting is that he didn't want to move across the country. When you have a family and young kids, you know, he didn't want to abandon his family. He's been in the NFL for 22, 23 years or something like that. So the fallout of this is going to be pretty interesting because there's expected to be a few big-name quarterbacks on the move. I think this fully opens the door for Aaron Rodgers to join the Las Vegas Raiders now. I know a lot of people are attaching Rodgers to the Jets because obviously they need a quarterback and Nathaniel Hackett. I think Rodgers is eager to join Nathaniel Hackett. That's a silly connection. I don't think that makes any sense, but I do think Rodgers joining the Raiders makes all the sense in the world because, most notably, they need a quarterback, and that guy, his guy, Devontae Adams, is there. So I do think that makes a lot of sense. Rodgers, he does not like the media. He doesn't want to deal with the New York media. So, Kevin, what do you think the impact here on the quarterback carousel Do you think this impacts where Aaron Rodgers might end up?
After last year's offseason, Joe, I feel like anything is possible in the NFL, that these teams will make any kind of moves. And I don't know if Aaron Rodgers has totally, played himself out of Green Bay. And granted, he's got a large contract to move. When you look at the two situations, New York and Las Vegas, number one with New York, you're not winning the division with the Jets because you have Buffalo in front of you. So I got to believe that would be the number one reason why he would not go to New York. And again, he has some decent weapons there. Garrett Wilson had a good year considering there weren't great quarterbacks with the Jets. They have a good defense, but I think that the already knowing you're not going to win the division is one thing. But then Las Vegas, you're in the same division as Kansas City. So I don't know how you're ever going to win that division as long as Patrick Mahomes is there. If you're just settling for a wild card, yes, you got to play with Devontae Adams again. Yes, you play in a beautiful stadium. Yes, you're living in Las Vegas. That could change a lot of things. I think Aaron Rodgers probably needs some kind of change of scenery. Tom Brady, I feel like, needed that too in New England, and it kind of recharged him a bit. Maybe that could help Aaron Rodgers too. Again, you got to move a lot. There's a lot of pieces moving here with the contract, and we don't know if the Packers are necessarily happy with Jordan Love, if that's the guy they want moving forward, assuming Rodgers retired or gets traded. So that's where I don't know where Green Bay's head is at, if like they're ready to part with Rodgers just because they don't have another option if Love isn't the guy. But maybe Aaron Rodgers needs a different place to go. And going back to what I said earlier, maybe if not winning the division, but just trying somewhere new to close out your career, you feel better about the way things end, because really in Green Bay, you haven't been to a Super Bowl in 12 years. So you've been a legend there, but how much real winning have you done? And that's maybe what he needs to go elsewhere. The Raiders would love him. The Jets would love him because he would bring some kind of winning to those franchises.
Yeah, I think a lot of it's dependent on what the Packers expect to get back for Rodgers as well. You're not going to get a long-term commitment from Aaron Rodgers. Plus, it looks like he may be regressed this season as well. A lot of people made excuses for Rodgers all season long, but he coming off his worst season in a very long time. But yeah, a change of scenery, I think, could do him some good. Okay, so other big news out of the NFL, maybe a little bit of a surprise to some. Sean Payton signed to become the next coach of the Denver Broncos. And let's not mince words here, guys. Sean Payton is wildly overrated as a head coach. Wildly overrated as a head coach. You know, all we heard all season about these teams like the Cowboys and the Chargers is said, hey, Sean Payton's going to come in, save the day. He's going to be the savior for these teams. But people have a very short memory with Sean Payton. You know, he's been dining out on winning that Super Bowl way back in 2010. But what have you done for us lately? Not very much, coming up short in big games. Since winning the Super Bowl, Sean Payton went 5-7 in the playoffs. 5 of those 7 losses were as a favorite in the playoffs. A lot of stacked teams. Sean Payton is the coaching equivalent to Aaron Rodgers. He is a great regular season coach, but he comes up short in these big spots. And people, such a short memory with this guy. We make such a big deal out of player safety and concussions, and deservedly so in a lot of cases. This guy just gets a complete and total pass for Bountygate. If Bountygate happened in 2023, that coach would be blackballed forever from the NFL. But Sean Payton, a media-friendly guy, people just want to sweep that under the rug here a little bit. And check out these Denver Broncos. So when they won the Super Bowl back with Peyton Manning a couple of years ago, they took a shortcut to winning the Super Bowl. They went out and traded for the quarterback, and hey, it worked out for them. It worked out for Tampa Bay. It worked out for the Rams, too, at trading for a quarterback. But here they are trying to take a shortcut again after that backfired on them massively with Russell Wilson last season. What, did they just have unlimited draft picks? So here's what they have given up for Russell Wilson and Sean Payton. They've given up 3 first-round picks and 3 second-round picks. That is complete insanity. How are you supposed to build a team with no picks in the first and second round of the draft? People talk about Sean Payton like he's Bill Belichick in his prime. What have you done for us lately? He's a good regular season head coach. That's about it. Decent resume. He's a good coach. Comes up short in big spots. Meanwhile, D'Amico Ryans takes the job in Houston with the Texans. You ask me, that organization, Houston, maybe a little bit disgraceful, but that's a much better job than the Denver Broncos. Start with starting fresh. Look at all the assets, all the draft picks they have. They're going to get to draft their quarterback of the future. Now Ryan's is going to have to hire a pretty good offensive coordinator here, but that's a much better job here. So I think massive L for the Broncos. What do you think, Kevin? Am I being too harsh here? Can Payton elevate Russell Wilson and this team to possibly playoff contention next season?
I think, Joe, that you're right and being too harsh at the same time. Now, one of the reasons, I'll go with the right part. Remember, Sean Payton had that onside kick in the Super Bowl that if the Colts don't recover that, he looks like the biggest donkey of all time. But it worked out. The Saints got the ball back, and they ended up winning. They ended up taking the lead and winning that Super Bowl against Indianapolis, and that's the one Super Bowl he's won. I also think, too, because the New Orleans Saints were such a joke of a franchise for so long that when he and Drew Brees got there in, 2006, that they helped save the franchise. It was after Hurricane Katrina and really built them back up and made them very relevant in the NFL. That's why, in a sense, he does get a pass for the bounty gate years later, and that's where the people, and also he's a likable guy. Now, on the flip side, too, you're taking over a Denver Broncos team that had monster expectations last year, but this new ownership group, they do not want to have egg on their face in the situation, and I think they had to overspend on Sean Payton, that they got a guy, Nathaniel Hackett, who from week one against Seattle, it was a complete disaster, that game, and then it all went downhill after that. Yes, Russell Wilson, I don't know what happened to him going from Seattle to Denver, how he just lost his fastball. He lost everything, it felt like. But at the same time, the Broncos needed to make a big splash. They could not go after another coordinator and make it into a head coach. They had to get someone established, and Sean Payton is established. Granted, you mentioned his playoff record. Yes, it's been down over the last few years. Maybe he feels recharged after a year off, being in the TV booth or being on the set at Fox, and now that really didn't work out for him. So being a coach again, going through the grind, knowing that Russell Wilson, if he could tweak Russell Wilson, get him, you have some decent receivers. You got a pretty good defense there. Yes, again, a tough division with the Chiefs ahead of you, but I think the Broncos did make the right move here. I think it was out of desperation, but they had to do it because they could not go for another no-name coach. And with D'Amico Ryans, I think that's a good move, too, for Houston. Young coach, you go from Lovie Smith, who had been around for a long time, and also David Culley, who was around, or who was an assistant for a long time, but older guy. This is a younger coach, was in San Francisco, played for the Texans. You said they're getting a quarterback early on in the draft, so maybe that turns things around. So Houston, yes, good job. I might say A+, but good job. But Denver, I think they had to make the move for Sean Payton just to make it look like they're going the positive direction.
Yeah, but no, I don't think Payton's a bad coach by any means. I just think the way he was talked about all season, like he's some type of savior and will come in and instantly save any team or any quarterback situation. I don't really get it, Whatever. Is Russell Wilson completely washed? He did play better down the stretch of the season. We got to be fair. I know he was the biggest punching bag ever this season, but he did play better down the stretch of the regular season once he was humbled a little bit. He had a better season than Deshaun Watson. No one's talking about what a big well, why would they be talking about that at this point? But Deshaun Watson was awful for the Cleveland Browns. Let's talk a little Super Bowl here, Kevin. Kind of a big game coming up here. And what are we, 11 days away now? We put up a poll on the VegasInsider Twitter feed. I think Tito has it today. Oh, there we go. What's your bet on the Super Bowl total? It's at 49.5. I'm surprised to see the majority of votes coming in on the under in that one. I absolutely love the over on that number. I love it more than the spread. That is my favorite bet for the game outside of props. These two teams extremely clutch on third down and in the red zone, each in the top 4 in third down conversion percentage and red zone touchdown conversion percentage. Very explosive, ranked number 1 and number 2 in passing plays of 20-plus yards. They're going to be zipping up and down the field, a fast track in Arizona. What do you think, Kevin? You go with the numbers and you're thinking over here? Do you think maybe a bit of a surprising low-scoring game potentially?
You've had 4 straight Super Bowls with the under, Joe, and I think that this one, I don't love the under, but I could see where it stays under just because, A, the Chiefs have played a lot more low-scoring games than people realize. You look at Mahomes, and he's put up unbelievable numbers this year considering Tyreek Hill is gone. And past Travis Kelce, you don't have great receivers on Kansas City, but Mahomes has put up great numbers. Number one, he is not 100% healthy. He won't be 100% healthy even for that Super Bowl. And he did a great job in that AFC Championship, threw for over 300 yards. You saw in that last play in which he ran out of bounds and he got pushed out of bounds that he's like, I can't run anymore. Kick the field goal. I wonder if they missed the field goal there at the end of regulation, what Mahomes does in overtime, because it seemed like he was kind of done at that point. So he's still going to play well, but I don't think he's at 100%. And you look at Jalen Hurts, I think they're going to grind a lot, the Eagles. They're going to run the ball a lot. They're very good defensively. I don't think this game will be as high scoring as people think just because Philadelphia, great defensively. And yes, I understand that the schedule has helped them this year. They've not played a lot of good opponents, and the debacle in the NFC Championship with the no quarterbacks for San Francisco, yeah, it helps a lot when the other team can't throw the ball. And now you're facing Mahomes, who's the best passer in the NFL. But I think that these teams will both be in the 20s. I really do in this game coming up on the 12th. So I lean more towards under. Do I love it? I don't love it, but I lean more towards the under in this game.
Sounds like you like the Eagles as well.
You know what? I see where Kansas City, you look at them and say, wow, they've not been a dog in the Super Bowl with Mahomes. If they were favored against San Francisco, should have lost that game. Favored against Tampa Bay, got blown out in that game. And now you're getting points with them. And I'm just not really sure right now if we're overvaluing Philadelphia or not. But, again, Mahomes, I said, is not 100%. Doesn't mean he still can't be more effective than 90% of the quarterbacks in this league, even with a bum ankle. But I mean, you're getting Kansas City, with some points here for the first time in a while. You don't get the Chiefs in the underdog role. It's just very curious. Or maybe Philadelphia is that good. Maybe we're just totally crapping on Philadelphia because of their schedule, but maybe they're just a lot better than we thought. This is for me, Joe, very, very tough game to handicap because you have 2 1 seeds. You don't have one team that's better than the other, and you say, all right, can the other team just cover in this game? I thought the Rams would take care of business against the Bengals last year, and they barely won that game. Against Cincinnati, who had to win a couple road games in the playoffs. Both these teams had home field, and both were 1 seeds. Very much of a toss-up. And to be honest with you, Joe, I've been terrible at picking these Super Bowls over the years. So my opinion in this discussion doesn't hold a lot of water.
All right, guys, my official spread pick for the game, it's up on a video. I did pick both the total and the spread. I already told you what side I like on the total, but check out the Vegas Insider YouTube video feed. I think it's the second or third video down right now, so give that a check if you're curious to see who I am picking to win the Super Bowl. I got to start digging into props here, Kevin. Ian McMillan and I have our big Super Bowl betting extravaganza show coming up on Friday, so it's going to be a lot to like. I like the overs, so I'm going to like a lot of overs on a lot of props here, depending on what the numbers are. Okay, guys, I'm now going to tell you about the Vegas Insider app. It gives you all the major sports betting odds at your fingertips, along with picks and expert breakdowns. You can shop for the best odds, find props, features, and plenty more with the app. If you want more Vegas Insider content like our shows, videos, and podcasts, you can find it all on the app in the media section. Download the Vegas Insider app on Apple or Android. Bet better with the Vegas Insider app.
Broncos country, let's ride.
Oh, God. I'm so sick of that.
Joe, it's just being aloof. That's all it is with Russell Wilson. Totally aloof. Just like they lose and he just has these corny speeches. Like, that's not going to work for anybody.
Yeah, I think he was just severely humbled. He wasn't speaking as much down the stretch. And what do you know? His play improved a little bit. I'm surprised that Russell Wilson didn't make the Pro Bowl, by the way. Tyler Huntley and Derek Carr getting in. What's the point of having the thing? It's funny,
It's
Josh
embarrassing.
Allen bows out. I don't know if it's he said he was injured or he's getting some type of surgery, yet he's playing in a golf tournament. Like a pro-am golf tournament or something. Just do away with it. I know they're doing the skills challenge. Maybe it's fun for little kids or something. It's stupid though, Kevin. They're doing the skills challenge. I'm pretty sure they're not doing like the 40-yard dash. Like have these guys in the NHL, they do the fastest skater. They go around the ice and, hey, this guy was the fastest around the ice. And Tyreek Hill and these guys always talking shit, saying who the fastest man is in the NFL, yet nobody wants to put their money where their mouth is. Have these guys sprint, race against each other. I would tune in for that. Are you going to tune into the Pro Bowl games, Kevin? There's a game of dodgeball these guys are playing against each other. I'm sure you're excited to see Tyler Huntley play dodgeball, no?
It needs to be gone. Like the NFL is such a moneymaker. You could go away with the Pro Bowl and no one's going to care. And I can't think it's going to destroy the pocketbooks of the NFL. Like that just needs to go away. Have a break in between the championship games and the Super Bowl. Just let everybody chill out, play the game on February 12th to be done. Like the Pro Bowl, doing all these nonsense. No, just got to end it.
I think they should do something with they incorporate like the top college prospects. Kind of start to build a little bit of momentum towards the draft. I know the draft hour is huge as it is, but why not use that as an opportunity to start to promote some of these college guys who are going to be drafted in the first and second round? I don't know, something like that might work. But you want to really see Derek Carr and Trevor Lawrence play dodgeball against each other? I will not be watching. I will not be watching the highlights. I will not be watching the clips that show up on social media. Let's get into some viewer picks here. A couple of submissions here for Wednesday evening. The boys, I don't know if one female has ever submitted a pick here, but the fellas are helping us out. Schreckengoss, always a lot of winners. So tonight, the last night of NHL action before the All-Star break. I didn't like anything. I did lean Toronto, though. And he's got Toronto on the money line here. Leafs ranked 5th in expected goals for percentage, 8th in Corsi percentage over the last 10 5-on-5 play. The Bruins, analytically not good. 18th and 23rd. Toronto has won 3 straight at home versus Boston. Bruins hitting their first skid. Lucky the All-Star break is coming up, but I believe they dropped this one as well heading into the break. Yeah, Toronto Maple Leafs, I believe, at home in that one. Matty Puppy Sports, a bit of a favorite here in this segment. You call this guy a CTP darling. People love him. A resident trend better. Give him a follow there. He likes Cincinnati minus 16.5 versus Tulsa. Big number there. Cincinnati 9-2 ATS in their last 11 home games. 5-0 ATS in their last 5 after a loss. Cincy is coming off a loss versus Houston. Cincy lost to Houston on January 8th. The next game beat East Carolina by 28. Tonight the opponent is Tulsa, who absolutely stinks. 3-15-2 ATS. That sucks. All right, what do we have next? All right, taking the points. Points with a Z. A first-time pick contributor, I believe. He likes Florida State +9 versus North Carolina State. North Carolina State 1-4 ATS as a favorite in conference. Florida is 6-3 as a dog in conference. Florida State won 5 straight in series and 8-2 last 10 versus North Carolina straight up. Kevin, I believe you attended Florida State. Is that correct?
I attended and graduated. All of it.
Any big-time athletes when you were enrolled?
1999, we won the national championship. Anquan Bolden was the wide receiver. Chris Winkie was the quarterback. So those were the good old days. Really good defense. And Peter Warwick was on that team as well. Would have won the Heisman if he didn't have the Dillers incident. But really good team. 99 and 2000 went to the national championship.
Nice. That must have been a fun time at Florida State University. Okay, guys, it's now time to tell you about today's Handicapper Heat Check, presented by VegasInsider, your home for the best expert picks in the business since 1997. Today's featured expert is Scott Rickenbach, who had a 3-0 all-sports sweep last night and hit 7 straight college hoops winners. BI experts ASA are 5-0 across all sports the last 2 days, and AAA Sports nailed 4 NBA wins in a row. Visit VegasInsider.com/picks for tonight's best bets. That's your handicapper heat check. Stay hot, betters. Yeah. All right, Kevin. We're winding right down here. What do you have going on out there in the cyberspace that chasing that paper viewers can check out?
We have an NBA video that will be up in just a little bit for tonight. Side of total and player prop for tonight's action. Also, our quarterback props video is up for Super Bowl 57, Jalen Hurts and Patrick Mahomes. I have a prop bet for each of them that I like that I hand out. And today we're going to put together our running back prop video. So that should be a fun one with all the great running backs in this game. So looking forward to that. We'll also have a wide receiver video as well. I guess we'll say wide receiver / tight ends. We can't diss Travis Kelce. Probably coming out tomorrow. So we'll have all of our prop videos up for, at least some of the prop videos up for the week. And you can check them out on our YouTube channel at VegasInsider TV, and like and subscribe as well.
Indeed, yeah. Shortly after this, I will be recording my Super Bowl MVP video. Probably going to go with one of the quarterbacks. We'll take a look at a couple of the long shots as well, see if we can find some value there. Okay, so that does it for today, guys. I will be right back here, same time, same place with Ian McMillan. Best of luck with your bets tonight, unless, of course, you're fading us. And as always, keep chasing that paper. Woo!